Chapter 60. Family Court has its own area on the second floor of City Hall. I could ask a million questions about what will happen next, but I've decided that I'm going to go where the wind takes me. And it's gusting outside, so if that's any indicator, maybe I'll be blown far. Lenore knows her way around this place, and a lot of people say hello. She keeps her hand on my shoulder, which is a nice touch. She says that she will be there for me. I'm taken into a waiting area. They don't have kids in the main room, and that makes sense. I see a little boy come in and he's crying. He's small. He looks only 6 or 7 years old. A man picks him up and whispers in the boy's ear, but he keeps crying. I'm glad I can't hear what is being said. I think that waiting is the hardest part. I'm okay with it, though, because it's not like I'm rushing to get somewhere. Lenore leaves the room, and I realize now that I could run away. I could just walk out the door and keep going. But I don't do that. And not just because I'm tired. I have given in. But that's different from giving up. After a long time, a woman appears and says that it's my turn to see the judge. I don't know what happened to Lenore, and I feel like I should wait for her. But the woman says that Lenore is dealing with something unexpected. I just shrug. I think that everything Lenore deals with is unexpected. I follow the new woman in charge down the hall, and we enter what is the judge's chamber. I guess saying judge's office doesn't sound as powerful. And that's when I see them. They are standing. Dell has on a suit, which is pretty tight. Next to him on one side is Kwang Ha. On the other is Patty. At Patty's elbow is Hiro. He also wears a suit, so I almost don't recognize him. And in front, holding a bunch of tulips, is Mai. They are all smiling. I don't say anything, and I don't move. I am completely still. I know how to do that. At the desk, a woman gets to her feet. She is wearing what I guess is a judge's robe, but it looks like a choir outfit. I don't even blink as she says, "Willow, I'm Judge Biederman, and I think you know these people." I'm not sure what to do. I realize that tears are flooding my eyes, but I'm not crying. I'm just drippy. I don't know what any of this means. The judge continues. There has been a formal request today to the court for your guardianship, in a motion filed by Mr. Hiro Hernandez and Miss Dong Nguyen. Patty interrupts the judge. It's Patty. Judge Biederman continues, but I don't think people break in on her very often because her nose wrinkles up. Mr. Hernandez and Miss Patty Nguyen are seeking the custody agreement as partners. I don't hear anything after that. I don't need to. I know that Lenore comes into the room, and at some point she has her arm around me. I sink into a chair, and I bury my face into my red hat, and I'm not sure if I'm laughing or crying. I hear Mai's voice. It's going to be all right now. Don't cry, Willow. I answer in Vietnamese. It means it's more than all right. Patty and Hiro aren't getting married or anything like that, but they're in some kind of relationship, which looks to me like more than just friends. We find out that Patty hasn't been working late all the time. She and Hiro have been going to dinner and even to a few movies, and once to a poetry reading at Bakersfield College. We all have the same look on our faces when we hear this piece of news. Kwang Ha, of course, is the one who says, "Poetry reading? You've got to be kidding me." Dell wanted to go for guardianship too, but he's pretty much broke, even though I recently put his accounts on autopay to help straighten out some of his finances, so he doesn't qualify. Hiro has some cash in his account from his prize, but the real discovery is that Patty is some kind of hoarder. While Dell spent years piling up plastic plates, Patty was stacking money. She hid this from everyone, but now that the court needs to review all of her financial documents, she has to admit that she's got, as Kwang Ha says, crazy mad money. I'm not supposed to see any of this, but Patty and Hiro didn't follow any of the correct procedures, and that means that Lenore has to bring out the paperwork while I'm in the room. Judge Biederman says that she's going to overlook all the red tape for now. I can see that Patty likes the idea of red tape, obviously because of her attachment to the color. I can't remember ever in my life seeing red tape. There is black and of course brown tape for packing, and silver. I make a note to investigate this reference later. Lenore signs off on her part in the approval process, but she says that Patty and Hiro need to come back and do things the right way. But the important thing is that for today, they are granted jointly the guardianship which is on track to not be temporary of a person named Willow Chance. That's now legal. Once this is said by the judge in an official way, Dell makes a show by dropping to the floor like he's doing a split. It is supposed to be some kind of victory move, but he rips his pants in the crotch, which isn't just super embarrassing for him, but makes Kwang Ha start to laugh. It's his high-pitched giggle. And once that happens, the contagious thing gets going, and I'm part of that now. I can see from the look on the judge's scrunched face that it's time for us to be moving on. We are outside when Mai gives me a big hug. Then Kwang Ha slips his arm around my shoulder, and I know he's going to say something important. He lowers his voice, and I hear, "I have a paper due in English class on Wednesday. Moby Dick, hope you have time to read it." We then walk across the plaza and get into Hyra's taxi. We sit 3 in the front and 3 in the back. It doesn't look safe, but there are seatbelts for all the passengers. We decide to drive to Luigi's restaurant, since this is favorite of Dell's and he's got the most enthusiasm about eating. I get sacco beans, which are pinto beans marinated in oil and vinegar and crushed red pepper. Everyone else orders spicy pickled tongue sandwiches. I don't eat meat, and organ meat is in a whole nother category of stuff I wouldn't want to chew, but I do nothing but smile when they offer me a bite. Chapter 61. We are in the taxi, driving back when Patty reveals something big. She wants to buy the building, the Gardens of Glenwood. We all think that she's kidding, but apparently she has already spoken to someone at the bank and she's put in a formal offer. I don't know what to make of it, but Dell looks thrilled. I'm thinking that he's thinking that he won't get evicted if she owns the place, but I doubt he'd still be the building rep. Kwang Ha is the most energized by this news. I guess he still worries about going back to the garage behind the salon. He says that if his mom owns the place, we could make a skateboard ramp in the front entrance where the stairs are. I didn't know he was a skateboarder. Interesting. Patty says that nothing is for certain. That is the truest statement I've ever heard. In the late afternoon, after everything has settled down, I put away my garden clothes and I run the mile loop. I then take a seat next to the timber bamboo in the courtyard. I know that I will think about this day many times. And then I realize that it is the 7th of the month, and I'm not surprised. 7 is a natural number, and it is a prime number. There are 7 basic catastrophes, and 7 days of the week. Isaac Newton identified the 7 colors of the rainbow as violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. Dell put people in 7 categories: misfit, oddball, lone wolf, weirdo, genius, dictator, mutant. I have my own system of order. I think that at every stage of living, there are 7 people who matter in your world. They are people who are inside you. They are people who rely on you. There are people you rely on. They are people who daily change your life. For me, I count my mom, always, and my dad, forever. Mai, Dell, Kwang Ha, Patty, Hyro. I decide that when my head begins to pound from now on, I will shut my eyes and count to 7 instead of by 7. I see each one of these people like the colors of the rainbow. They are vivid and distinct, and they hold a permanent place in my heart. If the builder had more money, this area probably would have been a swimming pool, but it's not. It's a garden. I shift my position and suddenly I feel something in my pocket. It's my lucky acorn. I get up and pick a spot off to the side where I know there might be space for something of size to grow. I punch my finger into the dirt to make a small hole, and I drop in the brown nut. I return to the stairs, and as I sit in the slice of winter sunlight, 2 small birds find their way down to the honeysuckle planted next to the bamboo. They speak to me, but not in words, in action. They tell me that life goes on. The end.